Yo, it's Maffu here, and this will be part 2 of the best commanders in KVK 1 and 2. Now, as you can see, I'm already in my new kingdom, so all this footage was recorded yesterday, but I still hope you enjoy, and make sure you leave a like and comment on any commanders that I got completely wrong, because I am still new to this game and I'm learning, so everything I'm saying is from my experience, which is only 197 days in, so I still have a lot to learn. Anyways, I hope you enjoy. In KVK 2, Charles Martel is a slightly weaker option, but in KVK 1, he is pretty good. And I'm gonna have to drop him into the S tier. The reason I'm gonna put him behind Sun Tzu though, is because Sun Tzu is such a small investment for so much power. For Martel to be good, you really have to expertise him or get him to 5515. Now I have heard that he will fall off into the late game, but now with the commander swap possibility after KVK 3, you'll be able to swap him for someone even better, and it's not that big of a loss. Now Aethelflaed is actually pretty strong. In KVK 2, we used him for several rallies or garrisons because he increases his damage by so much when he's under 50% health. He can be a little squishy on the open field, so I wouldn't run him in the open field, but you could run him in rallies and garrisons. I will drop him at the top of B tier. Now Mehmed is actually a pretty good commander. He's going into the A tier for sure, and he's a really good secondary. He has an AoE ability. His damage is actually kind of crazy, and he buffs skill damage with his second ability. He's a really good secondary commander. A lot of people run Minamoto with Mehmed secondary in KVK 2, so that could be something you might be interested in. Speaking of Minamoto, Minamoto's next on this list, and I am obviously going to drop him into S tier, probably above Martel. Now the reason for this is he is really easy to max compared to Martel because you buy all his heads for money. So if you can't buy his heads for money, then he is a really good option. Now I'm not saying that you should invest in him because I have heard that he is not that great going into KVK 3, going into Season of Conquest. You can save your money and use it to work on gear or some other stuff in the game that would be a more long-term investment for your account. Now, we need to say no more. Hannibal Barca, straight to E tier. I'll put him at the top of E tier for some respect that he's a legendary commander. Now, while he does have some good skills, he is definitely not meta. Do not invest in Hannibal Barca. Do not put money into him. He is beyond useless. Well, he's not useless, don't get me wrong, but he is not important for the late game, I've heard. Now, Aethelflaed, I'm going to put her into S tier above Sun Tzu. Now, part of the reason is you get all her heads for free. Yes, for free. If you look into the expedition shop, you can buy 3 of her heads per day. I had her skills maxed before KVK 2. If you're a low spender free to play, you should be getting her maxed 100%. She'll be in your march. Now in KVK 1, I ran Sun Tzu primary with Aethelflaed secondary, Aethelflaed 5511, and my reports were cooking. They were so good. I have also heard that you can run her in Season of Conquest, although it is not the best. You can run her in Season of Conquest, and she's a free commander that you can expertise. You should get her expertise. The next commander is Mulan, and I will put her at a solid A tier behind Mehmed. She is really good. Her buff is really insane. I think it gives you a 30% march speed bonus. She's good in canyon. She's good for killing barbs. She gives you 90% bonus experience to the secondary commander. She is a pickup for sure if you can expertise her. If you can't, you can slowly level her up and use her over time to kill barbs. She's still great. Now Ragnar, I'm putting Ragnar into the E tier, maybe even behind Hannibal. Do not invest in this commander. He is not very good, and it'll be a waste of your golden heads. Enough said, let's move on. Now Thutmose actually got a lot of use in my KVK 1. He was a primary rally for archers, and even in KVK 2, he was still being used for rallying. I don't know if he's that amazing. I think I'll put him in B tier above El Cid. He is definitely a solid commander, and if you're an archer main and a whale, you should probably pick him up, and you can commander swap him into a different commander later into the game. Now I gotta say, Pyrrhus is definitely slept on. His shielding is pretty great. Now, I don't know if I put him in A. I would put him in A tier, actually. He is a pretty big investment, though, for gold heads, because he's not as good as Martel or as good as YSG or some of these other commanders at the top that haven't been picked yet. But I do want to say that he's not a bad commander to pick up. I will also throw Richard into the A tier. Now, in my personal opinion, I actually think Richard is pretty decent on the field. The only issue with him is that he heals your troops a lot, so you do fill up your hospital more. But not only is he good on the field, he is amazing for chaining barbarians, and that alone should put him in A tier for commanders you should invest in. Now, don't invest in Richard too much. All you need is 5111, nothing more. Anything more is overkill. Now, YSG is no question an S tier commander. I'll put him at the front of S for now, and I've got to say he has some of the most insane skill damage output I've ever seen. Use him in rallies, use him in garrisons. If you are a rally or garrison leader, you have to have YSG. This is really important. He's good in rally and garrisons. He's good in the open field. If you're running Charles Martel with YSG, Minamoto with YSG, he can pair with any commander. And then last but not least, he is insanely good for chaining barbarians because his ability is area of effect in a circle around you. Makes chaining super easy, and if you pick him up for expertise, you can swap him later for a new commander in KVK 3 and beyond during the commander swap event. So don't be shy to invest in them early. They made it so the early game you can use your gold heads and you don't have to save them for late game. So it's actually a kind of a good update. Now, this commander's name is Siyaj, I believe, and I'm just going to drop him down to the E tier. I don't know where he goes in the E tier, but he is not worth the investment, I promise you. Now, I haven't done the math or looked at the commander that much, but I did watch Chisgol and several other Rise of Kingdom YouTubers look at the commander and evaluate that he's not very good. He is a rally commander, and I would be interested in seeing how he performs in KVK 1, but as of right now, he is in the E tier for me. Next is Saladin, and I'm going to put Saladin right behind YSG. I don't think he's quite as strong as YSG, to be fair. And the main reason for that is Saladin is a single target damage cav commander. He does do a lot of damage though, and he has a lot of uses. He's good for rallies, he's good for garrisons, he's really good in the open field, but I would say YSG has more of an impact than him. Now for Genghis Khan, I'm going to throw him into the C tier at the top though. He's the first KVK 2 commander I'm throwing down here. And now some of his perks are that his rage requirement's below 1000 and he has a 30% chance to cast his main ability again, which makes him a pretty good choice, but he just falls flat compared to the other KVK 2 commanders. In my KVK 2, I did not see a single Genghis Khan. The next commander is Constantine, and I'm going to put Constantine at a solid A tier. And the reason for this is he is very useful as a garrison when you have field control, but not much other than that. Now he is extremely meta in Canyon and SOC. You run Constantine behind Louis Che, and it's one of the most tanky marches in Sunset Canyon. If you watched War Daddy Chadsky's video on his Sunset Canyon lines, this commander shows up. This is only an investment for whales, by the way. Don't invest in Constantine if you're not a whale. He's only good late game in Sunset Canyon. It's not a good long-term investment. Now for Edward, I'm actually going to put Edward into S tier, but yeah, I'm going to put him behind Saladin. Now Edward was used in several rallies for our kingdom, and his damage output is crazy good. His skill damage was reaching upwards of 100k. Now, I have heard that he's only viable in KVK 2 and he gets outperformed by other commanders in KVK 3, so take that in mind when you're thinking of investing in him. You will have to commander swap him later on. He will not be as useful in KVK 3 and beyond. Now we have Ishida. He is a farming commander, and I don't think he's above Constantine or Matilda in my opinion. He's also way harder to level up because he is a gold commander and this is a purple and blue commander. Now we got my boy Alexander the Great. And I may be a little bit biased, but he is at the top of S tier for this list, and he is by far my favorite commander so far. My march I run in KVK 2 is Alex the Great and Sun Tzu, and this march hooks people so hard. I'm getting 3 million plus kill point reports as a tier 4 player, and it is insane to see. Now we have Tomyris, and I'm going to put her in A tier behind Constantine. She needs to be paired with Edward of Woodstock to cook. She's really good in rallies though, I promise. If you're a free-to-play low spender, do not invest in either Edward or Tomyris. Neither of them are good on the field, and that's where you'll be making most of your impact. These are only for rally leaders. Next is Seondeok, and this will be the first commander above Constantine. She is Constantine, but better, basically. Charlemagne, straight to E tier. This E tier order doesn't really matter. Don't invest in Charlemagne. He is a trap. Think he might be good because you have to win KVK to get him, but he is not that good. Now Cleopatra is a pretty solid gathering commander. I would throw her right behind Matilda. Now the reason is Seondeok, Constance, and Matilda all have ability that gives you bonus resources after you finish collecting. Constance gives you something similar, but it's not as good. Now Freddy I actually think isn't so bad, but there are just better commanders. You shouldn't put gold heads into him. I'm going to put him right below Thutmose in B tier. He is somewhat viable on the field, but a lot of these commanders above him are just better. Now, Julius Caesar is interesting. He had some crazy garrisons and rallies in KVK 1 for us, which surprised us because we've heard really bad things about him. And I don't know if I'd put him in B tier for that, but I will throw him right behind Genghis Khan into the C tier. He is not worth the investment. There are many better commanders. Now, Cao Cao is on a similar level as Belisarius. I'm going to put him right above Belisarius. They're both very similar commanders. He's just a better Belisarius, basically. And there you have it. I have now rated every single commander that you can get in KVK 1 and 2. Do with this as you will. This is not set in stone. I am not Jesus. I don't know which commanders are the best. This is my opinion purely based on what I've seen and experienced in the game through my about 200 days of playing. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and a little bit of a teaser if you made it to the end of the video. For my 100 subscriber special, I will be looking back at my account that I made 5 years ago that I abandoned in Zone 2. Now, I checked this account out a little bit, but I haven't really looked at the tech tree, the gear, anything. So this will be for my 100 subscriber special. It's going to be embarrassing. I was in high school when I made that account, so keep that in mind. It is not good. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and peace. Have a good day.